Hey, welcome to another episode of The Hammer Drops. It has been a while, folks. I think it's been like a fucking year or something like that since I've done an episode. A lot has changed in this year, let's be honest. A lot of shit has happened. There's a lot to unpack I've been gone a year, so everybody's been, y'all know what's going on with Charlie Kirk. Trump won the presidency. Everything, man. It's just been a really crazy year. First and foremost, man, I just want to apologize to you all for not being out on the platforms as much, not doing episodes and stuff like that. I've been just taking care of myself and just unplugging from the world. But I can honestly sit here and tell you that with everything that's been transpiring over the course of the last year, I've been having that itch to come back so unglued and so uncensored that I'm going to be honest with you. If your feelings get hurt, you probably don't want to listen to this show, because I'm going to hurt a lot of people's feelings. And honestly, I don't give a fuck anymore, because where I've been in my life, I've been shit on, I've been kicked, stabbed in the back, just you name it. It's happened just in this last year. I mean, it's completely fucking ridiculous. But I'm not here to discuss my problems, because, anybody can overcome their problems. It's just being a fucking man and manning up and just fucking pushing forward. And that's exactly what I'm doing. So there's a lot of new updates that I have. I will be appearing on the Savagely Loud podcast with Cliff. That show, I will let you all know when it's going to be released. And it will be on all the major platforms where, you can get your podcasts. And it's also going to be recorded on video as well. So I'll let you guys know where that's going to be at too. So that's coming up here very, very quickly. And I promise you, between me and Cliff, it's definitely going to be a show and an episode you don't want to fucking miss. And I highly recommend you, if you're listening to this show, go check out Savagely Loud. Cliff does some fucking amazing work. And he's a no-holds-barred kind of guy as well. He doesn't hold back on anything, and rightfully so. That's how it should be. We shouldn't be holding back on this stuff just because we're worried about hurting somebody's fucking feelings. You know what I'm saying? Oh, fuck. Man, it's been a hell of a ride so far. And I want to thank all my listeners here real quick who have stood by me and continue to listen to the show. I keep track of all that stuff. And I see that people are still listening, and I've had emails and people come up to me like, hey, when are you going to do the show again? When are you going to do the show again? Well, guess what? I'm fucking back. And I don't think I'm going to be going anywhere anytime soon, because let's be honest, there's a lot going on. You got the shit that's over in Israel, between Israel and Palestine. Yeah, that's a pretty fucked up situation. I mean, let me just get this out of the way here real quick. All right. See, I'm not pro-Israel, and I'm sure as fuck not pro-Palestine. I believe that is not our war whatsoever. I know that there was a bunch of ships that were going there with a bunch of activists and influencers on those ships. They sure made it a point to video themselves on the ship, but they didn't video any of the supplies they were supposedly bringing. So I know Palestine and Hamas and all them, they are kings of kings when it comes to propaganda. And that's the problem nowadays. You got so much propaganda out there, from our mainstream media to mainstream media just around the fucking world. I mean, I thought China was bad, but holy shit, is it getting bad with the propaganda? I mean, it's just fucking ridiculous. I mean, and so that's where the show like mine comes in, and other shows like it, is because now we're informing you guys what's actually fucking going on out there. Giving you our point of view, from our perspective, because you're not going to get that on mainstream media. You can't put on Fox News and get a anything anymore. And it's sad. I posted a fucking video up on the Facebook page, which you can check it out at The Hammer Drops across all social medias. And I put up there that you can, when it comes to mainstream media, that there's one person that you can pretty much trust, and that's the weatherman. Because the weatherman, we already know is going to be about 30% accurate, if we're lucky. When it comes to the journalists nowadays, you can't believe a fucking word that's coming out of their mouth. All right. So I thought that was kind of funny, little tip of the day type shit, And then here's another thing we got to unpack here real quick. I'm done talking about Palestine and Israel. Not our war, not our fight. Just too much propaganda going on. So I'm moving on from that. I know Secretary of War or Defense, I should say, whatever. That's a whole different story right there. Just recently, he had all the high star generals coming in and admirals coming out there to Virginia, to Guanaco, for a big old meeting. And it's funny because the mainstream media wants to put out that, basically the whole reason why they were there was to talk about how the standards are going back to the way they were, where you can't be fat and out of shape to be in the military. You can't be, growing a fucking beard. You have to be professional. And basically telling the generals and the admirals, if they have an issue with the woke ideology of being gone, that they can resign. Folks, they don't call the military in like that to have this kind of a meeting for bullshit like that. There's definitely stuff that's happening behind the scenes that we don't know about. So remember that. And always remember, if your mainstream media and if your politicians and all that are all on the same page and they're all preaching the same fucking thing, chances are pretty good they're lying to you. So unfortunately, you can't really take this stuff. I mean, you got to take it with a grain of salt. Let's be honest, because, they're going to lie to you because that's what they do. I mean, plain and fucking simple. They lie to you. Back on September 10th, let's talk about that real quick. Charlie Kirk assassinated. There's a whole bunch to unpack with that. You got Candace Owens that's going off about that, saying that Tyler Robinson isn't in fact the shooter, and she's had proof. And now all of a sudden you got the media and, people turning on not only Candace Owens, but Tucker Carlson as well, based on their allegations of what they're saying, their viewpoints on what happened to Charlie Kirk. Listen, we can all agree on one thing, that Charlie Kirk assassination, it was diabolical. It was heinous. It should never have happened. Nobody should be shot and killed over their viewpoints or, having a civil debate. Nobody should ever have to have that fear of something like that ever happening. Unfortunately, in today's society, with the extremists out there, this stuff is becoming more of a reality, unfortunately. Do I entirely think the FBI's narrative to this thing is 100% accurate? No, I don't. I believe Kash Patel is lying to us. And as much as I hate to say it about Dan Bongino, same thing. I mean, I honestly think everything that's coming from the FBI on this case is a bunch of shit, because you look at the videos of what happened and what they're saying. This kid is up on the rooftop. He shoots. He has the mindset to tear down the gun. He had to put the gun together while he was up there and try to get a clean shot, putting a scope on, all that stuff. It's just too many things that are just fucked up, right? So, I mean, we got that going on, but I think what that triggered was an awakening for a lot of people that, really, that really like Charlie Kirk, or even people that didn't like Charlie Kirk. It was just a huge awakening, because all of a sudden, and this is kind of the funny part, you have all these liberals attacking, Charlie Kirk, calling him a racist, calling him this, calling him that, making their social media posts, and they're finding out real fast that when you make stuff, make posts like that, even on your social media, there's that, possibility that you can lose your job, and they're all losing their jobs over this shit. I'm seeing it daily, like people losing their jobs over just stupid comments that they make. And I think the problem is that a lot of people think that, well, my First Amendment right protects me from this. No, your First Amendment right protects you from government. And that's it. You have the freedom to protest, freedom to do all that, but it doesn't save you from, social consequences. It doesn't save you from employer disciplinary actions, which includes firing. Because if your comments don't align with what your employer's mission statement is, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to get rid of you. And that's exactly what these people are seeing. This is what happened to conservatives back in 2020, 2021 with the whole J6, then, during, when George Floyd got, killed or died, I should say, he was going to die anyways from a drug overdose. We all know this. It's in the fucking reports. But when we would say stuff like that, we would be attacked. They would find out all of our information, call up our employers and all that. So it's kind of ironic that it's kind of switched over to them. It's switched over to the liberals on this. Now, do I agree with people losing their jobs over making, stupid, ridiculous comments on their social media pages? Yeah, I do. I think it's kind of childish, and that just shows where we're at as a society, and it's kind of ridiculous. We've taken a huge leap backwards. It's like, I feel like with all that crap going on, it's like I'm in, junior high or kindergarten again, or elementary school. It's like, come on, we're all fucking adults here. Let's grow up. Everybody's entitled to an opinion on whatever they want, and nobody should be able to sit there and dictate what somebody says. I mean, let's just be honest. If you don't like somebody because of their beliefs and having an open platform for debate, all that stuff, then that's your problem. But it also shows when you make comments like, there was a lot of people saying that they're glad that he was, assassinated, shot and killed and stuff like in front of his family. And it's like, when you make comments like that, that just shows what kind of a human being you are. You're just a disgusting human being with no empathy whatsoever. And I think that's what people may not understand, and that's why things have happened the way they have with them losing their jobs. Because, why would an employer want to keep somebody that is like that? You know what I'm saying? So you have that. When more comes out about the whole Charlie Kirk assassination, because it doesn't sit right with me, and I'm sure it doesn't sit right with a lot of Americans. And then I did watch some of the memorial, and I saw some pictures of Charlie Kirk and how his hand was fucking just yellow like that, looked like that fake plastic. So, there's that too. There's just a lot of abnormal things about that whole situation that just doesn't sit right with me. Let me know what you guys think about that. You can email me, blayak@thehammerdrops.com, and let me know I really want to know what you guys think about that and that whole situation. I know I have a post up on our Facebook page about that, and I've had a lot of comments about it. If you want to comment there, go for it. You can check us out there. So yeah, wow, man, this has been a while, man. I do have to say, I've said it before. I'm definitely glad to be back. I'm definitely glad to be, back broadcasting and getting, this stuff out to you guys. So we touched on the whole Israel-Palestine thing. We touched on Charlie Kirk. Let's talk about the Epstein files real quick. And I'm going to say Epstein files very loosely because we don't know what really what files there are, right? Are they personal files? Are they a filing cabinet? Are they, who's in these files? Because there's, of course, a lot of liberals are standing on that ground demanding to see the files. Well, folks, I would hate to tell you guys this, but if you want to know what happened to those files, maybe you should ask those 3 judges that have blocked anything to being able to come out with those files. And the reason why I say this is because those 3 judges, whether you want to admit it or not, and I'm sure that you don't, but those three, I'm looking it up as we speak. So, okay, Judge Richard Berman, he was appointed by Clinton. Judge Paul Engelmeyer, mayor, whatever, appointed by Obama. And Judge Robin Rosenberg, also appointed by Obama. Why don't you go ask those 3 Democrat-appointed judges why they are blocking any of that stuff from being released? And then you might have your answer. Or, here's a brilliant idea. Why don't you ask, because we already know that Maxwell has been found guilty of her charges, and she has one charge of sex trafficking, right? She has one count of sex trafficking. So they have proof that she trafficked people for sex to somebody. And it should be all in the court documents as well. And then she has conspiracy. So the conspiracy to sex traffic would indicate that there was more people. So I guess the thing that we should be asking for, instead of the Epstein files, right? Maybe we should ask to see those files, because she's already been charged, she's already been tried, and she's already been convicted. So those should be in court documents right now. I mean, as far as Epstein goes, I mean, there's a lot of things I'd like to know about Epstein. You know, like I think it was like over 18 months of house arrest, and, you know, he had a clause in there that saved him and his associates from any other charges as well. Interesting. Why would you need to make a deal like that? And of course, he got popped for, you know, conspiracy of sex trafficking. And I think he got one count of sex trafficking as well. Again, in those court documents, it's going to tell you who the other guilty party is and why wasn't the other guilty parties arrested. Those are the questions you should probably be asking instead of all this hoopla about the Epstein files. You know, but unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there that are still completely against Trump, and I get it. I don't like Trump as a person. I voted for Trump because he was the best out of the two. There was no way in hell I was going to vote for Kamala Harris and have a socialist country. Just no way. If Kamala Harris got in, you could have said goodbye to your gun rights. You could have said bye to a lot of shit. And people don't seem to realize that. You know, the one thing that's protecting us as a nation from any other countries invading us is the fact of our Second Amendment right, of the right to bear arms. No other country in the world is going to want to come into America that has 320 million people. And out of those 320 million people, how many of those people own a firearm? The second largest army in the world is hunters. Look at Wisconsin. Wisconsin's probably got like the second largest army in the world, okay? Just based on the hunters. And those hunters use their firearms a lot more than combat veterans do. So they're a lot more familiar with it. You see where I'm going with this? I mean, yeah. So that's been saving us, folks. Whether you want to admit it, whether you want to acknowledge it, that is what's saving us, okay? Oh, what other things have happened in the news? We've had a lot of mass shootings, and of course, there are a lot of extremists. We've had a lot of, and it's funny, people trying to alter the last one from Michigan that went into a church, trying to alter the shirt with AI, found out that it was AI. You know, there was no way in hell that, you know, Trump had a camouflage shirt like that. You think we're stupid? Hold on. Which brings me, now I'm going to back it up. It brings me back to the FBI and the Charlie Kirk thing. In the text messaging that supposedly happened between Tyler Robinson and his, I don't know how to actually politically correct say it. Was it his girlfriend or his transgender friend, furry, whatever, also a furry, I guess. And the way they were talking was in no way how young adults talk. Like, he even put in his message to his boyfriend, I guess, whatever you want to call it, that he had to change outfits. When did he become a woman? Women are the ones that usually say, I have to change my outfit. I have to change my outfit. Guys were just like, I got to change my fucking clothes. So, I mean, look at that conversation as well with the text messaging. That is complete bullshit. And when you read it, it almost sounds like it was generated by AI, to be 100% honest with you. Just the way it talks. I mean, you can kind of, when you read it and you see it, let me know how you feel about that as well. So that just seems a little out of the norm, in my opinion. Yeah, fuck, man. I'm not going to keep this episode too long today because, you know, it's been a while. Tomorrow I'm actually recording with Savagely Loud tomorrow. So I will, again, let you guys know what date that show and that episode will be released. So you guys can go over and check it out. So I got a lot of stuff going on, so it's kind of crazy. And I know I'm rambling right now, which I don't really give a shit. So yeah, so that's kind of a nutshell on everything that's happening. What I can promise you moving forward with this show is that I'm gonna touch base on this whole ICE thing here real quick before I go any further. A lot of people are pissed off about ICE and what ICE is doing their job and going around and collecting, for all intents and purposes, illegals that have entered our country illegally and deported them back. And I know a lot of people are pissed. And the funny thing is the more people that are pissed off about it seem to be like white suburbia is all upset about it. And especially white suburbia is more upset about Trump sending in the National Guard to, help curb, crime, especially here in Chicago. J.B. Pritzker doesn't want National Guard in Chicago. Brandon Johnson doesn't want it in Chicago. But the more you look into it, if you talk to people from the city, they actually want them there because they're sick of the crime. They can't go anywhere and do anything because of how much crime is going on. What the fuck's happening? So I'm going to talk about that on another show, or not another show, another episode, I should say, because I really want to unpack that whole thing and give you guys an understanding of what and why this is happening. I know there's conspiracy theories out there that this is Trump's army now, this is that, and it's not. You have to unpack everything and look at it with critical thinking on what's happening. Okay. We just got done of the 4 years of Biden and the complete destruction almost of our country. I mean, so we have that, and it's going to take a little bit longer than 6, 7, 8 months for us to come back. And that's what we're seeing right now. So yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell today, folks. I hope you enjoyed the show. Definitely don't forget to go check out all of our social media sites. And while you're there, follow them, like them, all that fun stuff. We're on TikTok, Instagram, and obviously Facebook as well. And you can keep checking there for more updates on some crazy little shit that I like to post now and then. Well, a lot lately. So until the next time, folks, I will talk with you guys soon.